Welcome, friends. I just want to do a quick video just kind of going over some teams that have allowed me to swing up crazy far, just in general, across all of my accounts. And like these are ones that don't drop off for the most part. I say for the most part, basically ever, because even if the team itself drops off, they get added to a different team. And so I've kind of ordered these in a very specific way, trying to go for things that are, not legendary focused and not, focusing on things that are going to be hard to get. This is mostly for Grand Arena, but you can use these in most game modes for most of them. Some of them are Omicron dependent for Grand Arena, but regardless, just want to talk about this real quick. So, Imperial Troopers, you guys have probably heard this again and again. Imperial Troopers, you need 2 Zetas on them, and then they can stomp people. I was using them at Gear 8, like 4-star for the longest time, just running turn meter trains around those, so-so teams that people put together out of their GL requirements, like just sitting around. Like, they're amazing. These guys right here, ever since they added Captain Rex on my free-to-play account, I have a 3-star Captain Rex and a Gear 8, Gear 9 Phoenix team, and I kid you not, they run circles around every single team I go up against in Galactic War. And so I just full auto Galactic War with them. And then, using them in Grand Arena, I get holds on them in defense in Aurodium with this lineup, which is obviously pretty bad. Amazing team to just swing up now that Captain Rex is in the game. Obviously, you're going to want to get him up as much as possible, but regardless, this is a super solid team, especially if you get those speeds up. Speed is one of the most important things when swinging up, is taking that first turn, like having Piet really, really fast, or having Gideon really, really fast on that team, having Captain Rex and Sabine fast. We got Finn, obviously, with Zori, if you are deciding to work towards Rey first, or you get the Lightspeed bundle. This team swings up so hard, even with a crap Zori. It's just insane how much this swings up. I cannot stress enough, Zori is one of my favorite characters in this game. Not in Star Wars, because I don't care for the sequels, but in this game, she is spectacular. This one is going to be a little contentious. Gan Ocean Brood Alpha, basically the reason he's such a good swing-up team is because of this 7th part of his lead. They get plus 15,000 max protection and max health each, which will then be shared as their general health pool, which is super, super good early on. Allows you to swing up, take down, boss teams that are on defense, all kinds of random stuff people put on defense. These guys can swing up and do quite a bit. They're also great for cleanups. They're also really good for just being on defense to be annoying in the back. Because earlier on, a lot of people struggle with Geonosians, which I think is hilarious. And so they're a solid beginner team. They're used for Wat Tambor. They're great in a lot of different scenarios. And so solid swing up team. I still use them today, although I pick them apart sometimes and use Geonosian Brood Alpha with my Sith Eternal. But this one carried me hard through, through carbonite, through bronzium, through chromium. Obviously, I still use them all now. But, now that I have a Star Killer team, it's a little different. But it's insane what you can pull off with just these 3. If you have Mara Jade. So Mara Jade needs to have a solid, 250 speed. I usually put her at 254. If you're going to low gear her and use her. Which I used her at Gear 9 for the longest time. And I used Thrawn at Gear 10, I think it was Gear 10 for the longest time. Emperor Palpatine, I used it Gear 12. Just solid team. I could take down Geonosians, I could take down Bounty Hunters, I could take down basically anything without good synergy, and that gained a bunch of turn meter, I could take down with this team. The reason that I always kept it at 250, this is a brief side tangent, but the reason I kept it at 250 is because most people don't mod their Gan Oceans very well. And so the average highest speed on a Gan Ocean team is about 246. Because the Gan Ocean Brute itself has a base speed of 216 speed, plus a 30 speed given to him from Brute Alpha, which is just the average amount given from Brute Alpha. Some people will have more, some people will have less. But it's made it so that way I could just take down Gan Ocean teams so easily. This team is literally one of my favorites in the game in general, is just having Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade. You can obviously throw other Empire in here. But just Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade have gotten me so many wins in Grand Arena. It's insane how good these two are together. This is where we start getting to the ones that require a bit more, oomph. You have to get some legendaries, things like that. But this Darth Revan team, this was my base Darth Revan team without Malak, of course. And so these guys were all gear 12, except for HK, who was gear 11. And then Darth Revan, I got to Relic 5, but I used him at gear 12 a long time, too. This was my absolute go-to team on offense of, I can't beat that. I have no counters for that. I have nothing for that. Darth Revan. A lot of people put him on defense because of the whole fact that Imperial Troopers counter him. He's not the best on defense, especially without Malak. But on offense, he is a powerhouse that a lot of people don't take advantage of. I cannot tell you how many teams I've just absolutely wiped that are, full relics and all that kind of stuff. And it's just Darth Revan is relic and the rest of the team's gear 12. And I have literally zero problems. One of the best swing-up teams, and it continues to evolve, getting Malak here, and then, swapping out Empire Trooper and getting Malgus. It continues to build on itself. This is one that is interesting. It's kind of like Imperial Troopers with how much of a turn meter train they can run, but it's so freaking good. I know he takes a long time to get. You're going to want to always buy him from the fleet currency store. General Grievous just takes forever. But this right here, I use this to take down Jedi Master Luke. This is crazy how good this is. And yes, you keep Newt Gunray at gear 10 because you want him to die off. Because when he dies off, General Grievous takes a turn, and you can get your turn meter train running. And so this is an awesome team at any gear level. I got a buddy who uses this at gear 10 in Grand Arena and still gets results when he's over in Bronzium right now, or Chromium? Bronzium. Solid team. This is one of the best plug and plays for early game. I literally used Mando at gear 8, 9, 10 for the longest time. Mando's at this point in gear 12. I'm working on getting these guys up. I've got a list I'm working through. But these guys swing up so hard. And you can pull off some really funny tricks if you mod them with a lot of speed. Zam Wessel is not typically necessary. You can put any 2 bounty hunters here. But Zam Wessel does make this insanely easy to do. Just the fact that you're getting that insta-kill, you can go watch my stream I just had, where I pulled off an insane win against a Savage-led team because of, my low-gear bounty hunters. They swing up so incredibly far. You can use Bosk Lead, you can use Aura Singh if you have her, but Bosk Lead is typical for your low gear, you're just trying to swing up at something. But yeah, any 2 other bounty hunters you have, this team on offense is great. This is the one that a lot of people suggest. And I understand 100% why people suggest CLS. And, it is an amazing team. I mean, you see it right now. I've got Relic 5, Relic 3s across the board, and then Gear 12 Han Solo. I'm using that in Hardened Mode Conquest. I'm using that in Grand Arena, having success kind of everywhere. But it requires 3 different legendaries and a guy that's required from a raid. And so I don't feel in good conscience that I can be yes, get this team. But I will tell you that CLS is a great solo early on. CLS Chewbacca and Han Solo is an amazing 3-man to low-man things in like Carbonite and Bronzium. And this is one of the most versatile teams in the whole game. Even now, years later, like, yeah, don't put it on defense. There's been some counters developed lately that have made it pretty worthless on defense. But on offense, it is still one of the most versatile offense teams you can have in the game. I've used this at Gear 12, at Gear 10. It's a great cleanup team. I've had like a Relic 7 Grievous that was, left over after I failed and killed everyone else. And I just took in my Gear 10 CLS squad and just wiped the floor with him within 2 turns. Like, no problem whatsoever. This team is great at low gear, at high gear. It will always be relevant. Like, Chewie and Han are actually being used with Leia right now. Like, solid swing-up team, but it's hard for me to suggest it just because it's going to be super hard for you to get. And I want you to have low investment, high yield teams that you can get out of this. And speaking of low investment, high yield, please do not neglect your solos. The game has provided a lot lately with solos and duos that we can throw at things that are absolutely busted. And this is something that I see people be like, oh yeah, eventually I'll get this. And it's like, no, get it now. It's one of the things that will revolutionize your roster right now. A huge obvious one is going to be Darth Vader. Darth Vader is great solo, great with a squad. He's amazing. Get him up to relic levels. He can solo Gan Oceans. He's great. I obviously need another Zeta for him, but regardless, he's great solo. I still use him to solo Geos even without his last Zeta. But there's other ones, like Wampa. Wampa with his Omicron is nuts. And even in, top of Aurodium where I am right now, I have zero problems finding a place for him. And I don't think I will end up having a place where I can't use him until I hit, like, Kyber 2. And even then, there's occasional times where you can use him to clean up things and all kinds of stuff. He is an amazing character. Don't, put him off. As soon as you get him to 7-star, drop your farm, go for him. This is something that revolutionized my roster, revolutionized my roster for this next one too. As soon as the Savage Omicron came out and I saw what it could do, I dropped my current farm. I was working on a Executor at the time, and I was like, oh yeah, I need Executor because I need a GL ship. I saw what Savage could do, dropped my Executor farm for the week and a half that it took me to relic him, and then got Savage to relic, and I kid you not, my success rate jumped so high just because of that fact that I had an awesome solo and a guy that I could also use in other teams. This guy is literally amazing and an absolute monster in Grand Arena. Then we have this guy. This guy is not... I'm not going to suggest this one. This is not one I'm going to be like, hey, jump over here and you're going to, get him. Don't just get him out of the blue. But if you're going for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, do not neglect him. He is one of the best ones to start with, because he can fit in any of the teams, obviously, but he can solo so much in the early game, and I still find places for him to solo teams, which is absolutely hilarious to me, because people will put, in the back, they'll be like, here's some, Galactic Legends in front, and then in the back, they're like, we're just going to put Phoenix here, we'll put, my Karth team here, and he solos them, no problem. I'm going to put my Crap Mon Mothma team right here, and it's like, oh yeah, he solos that. He's just really good. So if you're going for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, don't neglect this guy. And then this is a new one. I don't know if you guys saw, but this one can counter gas, which is insane. And I'm going to be doing a lot of testing with this and a lot of fun things with this, I would assume. I have about 3 months before I will have Maul himself. But these guys I'm getting up right now, even though I don't have Maul, because they can solo a ton with the new rework. And all they require is basically a Zeta on Gar Saxon, and that is it. There's no Omicron, no nothing. I'm really excited to do some stuff with this team in Aurodium and maybe push through Kyber with them. But yeah, they're super, super interesting how they interact with each other, plus they're pilots of a ship. And I wanted a reason to level them up because they're pilots of the ship, but they're so garbage. And now that they have had a rework, they are insane. They are busted. Go look up some gameplay. Insane. So these are some teams, awesome teams that you can swing up hard. I have killed so many teams, and I've also used these to piecemeal teams. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've been looked at a team and been like, I can't beat that at all. And then I just throw in my Bosk, wipe away one guy, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can clean that up. Or like, you know, bring in my CLS and wipe one guy off the field. I'm like, oh, sweet, I can now beat this team with literally anything in my roster. And these solos will transform your roster. A solo not only gives you more banners, but it will also make it so that way you have more teams, because that is a one-man team right there. That is a one-man team. That is a one-man team. If you are in Carbonite, that right there, those three, you just got enough to wipe your field with just solos. And then you have all 5 of these, you're getting close to being able to wipe the field in Bronzium. Like, don't neglect your solos, don't neglect your low investment, high yield stuff. But these teams will help you tons. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys end up being able to be a little bit more successful out of it as well. I do have a goal for 1,000 subscribers by January. I'd really appreciate it if you guys enjoyed this, if you'd subscribe. Let me know in the comments section if you have any other teams that you really love with like this, you know, low investment, high yield kind of idea. And I will see you guys in the next video.